Red wave is Excel primed. Conditional formatting. Select and highlight the three lowest quantities. In other words, we're looking up some fruit here. And if it's true, if banana here in E5 is in our fruit list, well, that's the first true. Then we have to make sure we're looking for the three lowest. Another true. And if they're not both true, we're not going to get an output. So we hit F9. You can see we don't have an apple, so we don't pass the first test. We have cherry, 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 banana. We have banana, but what's happening here? There's only one banana. Our test here, and we have two trues in this argument. We have B5 equals E5. Has to equal. Pass that test. Then C5. In other words, C5, this is where conditional formatting gets kind of confusing because all we're doing is referencing C5. And C5 less than or equal to small. Small if fruit 732 equals E5 and quantity 732. In other words, we have to try to pass the second test. Here's the formula. Here's the formula in action. And you know why I have to put it here, because this formula is behind the scene when we insert it into conditional formatting. And it has logical arguments. So we have B5. Here's our first argument. And then here's our second. We have to break this down. And all we're saying is, does this number, is C5 less than or equal to small? Small. And then small, if we break small down, we have another if statement in here. And small, if fruit 732, fruit here, we're going to have B5, B11 is equal to E5, quantity 732, quantity 732, 3. Here we have the small, we have an array. Here's our array, F9. And this is what's tough to remember, is that this formula is looking through this entire array. We have banana and 56. Okay. So we pass this test, the only test, so we have false. If I back up, if you see fruit 732, if fruit 732 equals E5, quantity 732. And that's what it did. You see this K? We want 3. We need 3 in order for this to pass all the tests. This may be easier to see. Here we have the first test, which is we have bananas. B5 equals E5. So we pass that test. C5 equals C5 right here, less than or equal to small if fruit 732, fruit, this list, equals E5. In other words, banana equals banana. Okay, we pass that test. And quantity, we have this list of quantity. Show me that truth. And if there's 3, provide them. Here we go. Let's just take a look here. Let's just look at this array. F9, did we pass the test? Does B5 equal E5? Yeah, because this is the array, we're going to go down and you can't see it. And that's what's difficult here, is you just have to pretend that we're going through these tests. So then C5 is less than or equal to C5. What's the next test? Is C6 less than or equal to small fruit? And it has to go through this test. Going down and testing each one of these one by one. We're going to ask, does peach equal banana? No. Fruit 732 is just going down this array and checking. Here we have a true. And then we have 60. We have a true. We have a false, false, which is cherry, cherry, banana, true, cherry, false. And what does small do? It's just going to grab these and highlight the 3 smallest. If there are 5, then it's going to show 5. Conditional formatting, it's hard to interpret because you pack everything into this one formula and you expect it to carry the entire weight. If we're doing this without conditional formatting, It's much easier to program. My suggestion is to read this over here. Notice how critical it is for your absolute and relative values. When we look at this C5 less than or equal to, C5, that's the first test. Then we're going to go down the second test. Because we're looking at this array, we're going to test every array. We have 732. You see how it's highlighted? That's a test. If equals E5. It's an array, F9. And we're going to test banana, fruit. And then we're going to test this quantity. If true, show me the equivalent over in quantity. And we package it all up in this little formula. Brad Williams, Excel Prime, thanks.